Aloha everyone, my name is Diane and I'm your orientation leader for today's session, which is titled Academic Support Service. Before we get started, I'll be covering some housekeeping items for today's webinar. First, you should be able to hear me clearly. If you cannot, please note that in the chat box so we may troubleshoot with you. Simple fixes include connecting your audio on the Zoom window, turning up your computer volume, or using external headphones. Second, please utilize the Q&A function. If you have questions for the presenter or about what was shared, for some sessions, all questions will be saved for the end of the presentation. Additionally, participants in the chat are asked to be respectful of others and stay focused on the topic of this webinar so those with questions can easily be seen. Finally, after the session, we will be uploading the recording of this webinar to the Visit Days platform in the video section. All recordings will have closed captioning. Now, I would like to welcome and introduce today's presenter, Ms. Cherie Guillermo. With that, I will turn the presentation over to Cherie.
Thank you so much, Diane. Hi, everyone. My name is Cherie Guillermo, and I currently work with the Online Learning Academy. Just a brief introduction. So the Online Learning Academy primarily supports, right, high school students, secondary students, particularly from underrepresented groups, to prepare them for post-secondary students, for post-secondary education by providing mentorship and one-on-one English, math, and science tutoring by college students. However, we have also been able to support college students in the past, supporting them in basic math, pre-algebra, algebra, geometry, trigonometry, pre-calculus, biology, chemistry, physics, environmental science, writing, and language arts. So throughout the years, our tutoring services has expanded their subjects. And in recent years, we've actually also delved into social studies and calculus up to Calc 2 in college. Just to give you guys a brief background on our tutors, majority of our tutors actually come from many different majors. It ranges from computer engineering, electrical engineering, mechanical engineer, biology. We have a few tutors in biochemistry and some graduate students as well studying cell and molecular. And then a few of our tutors comes from business. And of course, our English tutors comes from English and literature. So right now, if you guys were to check out our website, it's currently under development, unfortunately, but this is essentially how it would look like. We have our logo at the top. We also have the Enter Math and Science Tutoring. So that's the box that you would click in if you needed help with math and science, or you could make an appointment for our writing tutors. So in a minute, I'll explain the difference between the two, but the following is our website. So for our math and science, if you were to click on that button, it would have the hours, right? So right now it says limited summer hours, but then it would say fall 2021 after we've updated it. We should have it updated by next week. It will have the days that we're currently open, and it will have the Enter Tutoring Room. So here, when you click Enter Tutoring Room, you will be prompted to a Zoom room that looks like this, right? It gives you a Zoom link, and then it would ask you for your name. So you could put first names only, and we usually ask the students to not turn on their camera because our tutors don't use their camera. They do use audio to facilitate an easier tutoring session, but this is how our main room looks like. Our main room is what we call the landing page. So no tutoring session actually goes on here. It's just our tutors are grouped together here so that they can send students to their respective breakout groups. Our tutors typically start off with, hi, greet the student's name. How can I help you with math or science today? They usually say, oh, I'm good. I need help with algebra, or I need help with calculus. And then they would tell you, please wait while I transfer you to a private tutoring room. And from then they give you a separate tutoring room, a separate Zoom room to transfer. And from then, the tutors are actually able to conduct their tutoring sessions. So in the separate Zoom room, this is where they ask you for your information. It's completely private. They typically ask for your first and last name, your teacher and the institution that you go to. That's for a record only, it doesn't get shared with anybody. And then afterwards, they would share the white screen where you're allowed to put up your problems and then annotate it together. So you and the tutors are actually working on your problem simultaneously, and they would ask you, okay, so what do you know so far? The specific details of what we can help you with. So that's our math and science side. So they're drop-in tutoring hours. You can come in anytime between those hours. On the other hand, our writing center is actually based on appointments. So had you clicked on the other button, it would take you to our appointment section. Just to introduce our writing center, our tutors support students at all points of the writing process. They can assist with organization, clarity in your paper, if you need any citation skills or research skills that they might be able to prep your, let's say you're doing an essay for English, or let's say you're doing research studies for biology. Those are some of the things that they can help you with. In the past, we've had students coming in for grammar and vocabulary just to make sure that it makes sense from, I guess, just from an outsider's point of view. So sometimes maybe a person in second language might be here and they just needed someone to read it who doesn't know anything about the topic, just to make sure that it makes sense from an outsider's point of view. The writing can range from academic writing to creative writing and business writing as well. Just to demo how to access our writing center. So on the homepage, there's the set on a schedule with the writing tutor. So then here's the button where it would take you to the direct website, hawaii.mywconline.net. And from then, here's the login information. So if you are a new student, you would have to register for an account first. Otherwise, you would continue going with the email address and the password. The registration setup is actually it's pretty standard, right? We have our email address. You start off with your first and last name, just a few demographic questions. And then afterwards, you're allowed to select your appointment slots. So anytime that you see these dark purple, they're usually blacked out, so you're not able to select them. Anything blue means that it has already been taken away by other students, but you could select the available times that are present in white. So let's say I wanted to work with Tawny on Monday. I would just click on the white sections, right? Whichever time that works for me. Or maybe I'm scheduling for a later time and I wanted to work with Jordan at a later date. So that's something that you could do to make multiple appointments. And then here is the appointment sheet where you actually put in your assignments. So it tells you what time you're meeting them. You would put yes, schedule online meeting. This is the exact platform that you will be using for the tutoring sessions, and just a few information so that our tutors have a background information on what you need help with. It would be what class is it for, who's your teacher, what school, and then what does the assignment ask you to do. So in specific, you would put in what can the tutor expect out of your tutoring sessions. And after you click on done, it will actually turn yellow. So on the day of your appointment, you come back to this website, so this platform, and then you would click on the yellow box that has your appointment. When you do, the registration system will pop up again. Instead of filling it out like you did the first time, it has this red mark that says start or join online consultation. And when you click on that button, you will have your tutor waiting for you. So for example, this is Avery. She's our writing coordinator. And then here you could copy and paste your problem. And what's really nice is that it's actually color coded. So if you notice, anything that has yellow is Avery. So she introduced herself in the chat and she discuss what she would be helping you with. The student actually would copy and paste their paper and it would be in pink. So let's say Avery makes changes and organizational, right? Because that's some of the things that our tutors would do, reorganize the papers. Any changes that she makes will actually turn into yellow. So you know which one is your original work and which one has been modified by the tutor. And then these does not get deleted. Anytime that you want to come in and see the work that you've done, you can just log in to the start or join consultation, and you can see historically what you guys have been working on. So that's how we collaboratively work with our students. For OLA, so just a brief recap, our math and science tutors up to calculus 2, primarily in the high school students, primarily high school students, but for the English, we have a lot more experience working with the college students. So hopefully we get to see you either in our drop-in tutoring room for math and science or for our writing center. Thank you very much.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Cherie. And now I will introduce Rosemarie Woodruff from the Learning Assistance Center.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to do a lot more talking than showing you any PowerPoint, but I will bring up our website to guide me in terms of what I'll be saying. So let me share my screen. Hang on, let me do this. Oh, hang on. Share screen first. Okay. Okay, so here's the screen website, and the website right now reflects our summer services. So it doesn't have a couple of items that are usually there and will be there when the semester starts, but I'll still talk about them still. So when I talk about them, write it down. Okay, so this is our website. If you want to check out who is tutoring, take a look at the tutors, you can. Sometimes you like to know who you'll be meeting. There's me, Adam is a program assistant, and these are some of our tutors here. Yeah, so that's something you can do. Some of our tutors are shy, so they don't give us their bios and the pictures. In the summer, it is a very limited tutoring program. But when the semester starts, you're going to have tutoring, same label there, and booking an appointment. We have individual tutoring by appointments. We also have similar courses to what Cherie has presented. Our tutoring is really based on the student tutors' experience. So we do try look for students who can tutor in chemistry and physiology and other courses that are popular. But if the student is comfortable tutoring any other course that they have taken, and we also list those. So it's good to check our website to see what's available because it depends on the students that we hire. And so it'll change from semester to semester. We hope many of the students do take foreign languages, so we try to include those whenever possible. And what will happen is if you don't see something on the list, you can send an email to learning@hawaii.edu, and we will check to see. Sometimes the tutors will not want to post it, but they will meet with students and still see if they can be helpful. We emphasize the process rather than content in that we try to make sure that students can be independent workers. That is, we teach you how to learn, how to figure out the problems, not so much just tell you what, but also how and why. So sometimes the tutor can help you with that, even though they have not taken a course, but they can help you with study approaches, study strategies as well. Academic coaching is something that is provided by, you don't have to read all the details, I'll just tell you, kind of summarize. It's provided by not the student tutors, but graduate assistants and myself and my colleague, Adam. So you might ask, what is academic coaching? Well, I like to think that it's something between academic advising and going to see a counselor at the Center for Student Development. And it could be anything. If you're just wondering, oh, I'm not sure where to go, or I'm not even sure what I need, or even a lot of students come in with asking about majors. We do not actually, if we cannot provide help for you, we will provide you a referral. We will tell you where to go to get help. Pretty much, the academic coaching is just what you need. We don't, whatever the student is concerned about or whatever issues they bring up, that's where we start. So it's a very open-ended kind of session. And as I said, we have a variety of issues that come up, including, of course, motivational study issues. Whatever is an obstacle for you in being successful in school, just check us out, academic coaching. And you just like the tutoring, you would book an appointment. Okay, now I'm going to move this a little bit here. You can check out the calendar does not reflect what's happening. The summer, there's hardly anything going on, but you can check our calendar. Two of the things that are that are not on the one of the major programs that's not on there is called supplemental instruction. What SI is, it's a weekly study group for 1 hour for some of the more difficult courses, like chemistry is a very popular SI. And again, the SIs would vary semester to semester, depending on the students, because as you know, these are student tutors. So they will graduate, and sometimes we don't automatically replace, but we usually have a study group for chemistry. This study group is an interactive collaborative session. So the facilitator that says very little actually, but creates activities so that you can experience what you're trying to learn. And generally speaking, the students work in small groups, work with each other, help each other, and also answer the questions. But of course, the tutor, the facilitator, is always there to help anyone and the group when you get stuck. But the idea is for you to actually experience the content in a way that you cannot do in the lecture section. And this is really a more effective way of learning. Also, often it's a lot more fun than the lecture situation. So we do have student resources as well, and you can check it out. A lot of times you can read stuff and it's not that and you may try them out. Or this is across campus, excuse me. The student resources are listed here on the page, homepage. A lot of times you can read information and find that it's not that easy to apply. So I would say you can read it through, but make sure you make an appointment with an academic coach to actually be able to hang on, able to apply what you're looking at. Okay, so let us, one of the other programs that I wanted to mention is, oh, excuse me, what did I do? What did I do? Well, actually, I'm done with that. So we can just chat. One of the other programs that that's not on the website that I'd like to talk about is, as I said, we have individual tutoring where you have to make an appointment. And we also have study groups. We also have walk-in tutoring, and this is in collaboration with the housing office. You don't have to be living in student housing in order to use this. Before the pandemic, there was a on-site in housing, and so you would just go without having to make an appointment. We have a tutor there from Sunday through Thursday, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And right now it is online, so you just have to when the website is up, you can click on the link and enter. We have breakout rooms, and so you can see a tutor without an appointment. And again, it will be usually chemistry, physiology, and math. Those are the most popular ones. And no appointments. If there is only one person, then you have a one-to-one appointment. If there's more than one, the tutor tries their best to help you by going from one to another. But it's really nice when you don't have to make an appointment and you can just drop in. It's possible that the on-site location will be open this semester following the guidelines to deal with our COVID. And so it becomes a study room. And just like a lot of the students just study there, and then when they have an issue or a problem, then they stop and they ask the tutor. So it's a very whenever you need help, you can get help. And you can also chat with other students and help each other as well. So it's a very nice kind of a learning community for students who spend time there regularly. And as I said before, you don't have to be a resident of there. It's open to anyone on campus. Finally, I want to mention that if you may be an incoming freshman, but after your first couple semesters, if you want to work for us, you can set up an interview. You don't have to be an excellent student. You just have to make a B in the course. Again, we don't hire tutors for all the courses that are available, but mostly the ones that students have difficulty with. But you can check it out. And often what we'll do is we will hire students who have other kinds of skills and abilities, even though they may not have a particular course. Depending on what we already have offering in terms of who we have hired, we may hire some other people to expand our program. So if you were looking for a job and you think you might want to do tutoring, you can always check in and see if we can hire you. So basically, we're not so different from any other office tutoring learning assistance center. We have individual tutoring, we have study groups, we have academic coaching. And one of the things that you can always do is right now we are in the Sinclair Student Success Center. So if you're studying here, you can always check and see if there's a tutor available for you if you have a question. But right now it's mostly online, but we will be providing both online and in person based on tutor preference. Some of our tutors may not want to go back to face-to-face. So when you go to the website and book an appointment, you will see who is available for on-site face-to-face tutoring and who is not. But if you run into any kind of problem at all, please be sure to to send an email to learning@hawaii.edu, and we will assist you in any way we can. So I actually don't have any more to say, except check out the website when it's complete for the fall semester. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we will get into our Q&A. So what I'll do, Dr. Woodruff, to you and Cherie, I will read the questions to you, and if you can kind of, if they impact your area, if you could answer them, and then we'll move to the next question. So a question came in, Online Learning Academy, just inquiring about your website and when to expect that it would be available, or when services open up for the fall.
Thank you so much. So yes, our website is currently under construction. We should have it set up by the end of next week. And our services should continue by the first or second week of the semester.
Great. Okay, good. And Rosemarie, you mentioned that there are several other services on campus. Now, is there one area over the other, depending on the subject matter, that a student should use Learning Assistance Center over maybe the Learning Emporium or Online Learning Academy? Is there a difference?
I think I would encourage students to check them all out. Because it depends on how you learn best and what you're looking for. For example, for the Learning Emporium, it often is very crowded. And so one of my tutors said the best thing to do from their perspective is to go to the Learning Emporium when you have a specific question. Yeah. At the Learning Assistance Center tutoring, you have a tutor for as long as 1 hour if you want. And so so we can get more into why and how to do your homework, as opposed to this is how you do it. So there's a lot more. We can really get in more in depth and help students to really develop a deeper understanding of the content and being able to apply the concepts. So that's a different kind of purpose there. In fact, that's in our mission statement. We help students become independent, effective learners. So process is very important. Why and how is equal important as what in our session. So that's a different style. And so some students really need that and want that. But if they want something very specific, they can go to the Learning Emporium. Another thing that's very important. Now, not all tutors are going to have the same tutoring style they all have a different style. And so sometimes you might find that a particular tutor really fits your way of learning. And of course, we train our tutors to try to work equally well with the full range of students. But the reality is sometimes you develop a favorite tutor. So you can check it out and see. And again, this tutor might be good for something, and that other tutor might be good for something else. And also there's availability. So if you have a favorite tutor at one site and they're not available, then go to a walk-in like the Learning Emporium. So I guess what I'm saying is the students should use all of the services because they are slightly different in their approach. And so when you get to learn what you get to learn the different kinds of services, then you can pick and choose to fit your own needs. So there really isn't any need to go to only one. I would just suggest try them all. It's all free. And a lot has to do also with availability, right? So there isn't any one in particular. I think you should check out all of them.
Any thoughts extra, Cherie?
No, I agree with what Rosie said. And I think it's just a matter of learning preferences too. I know that LAC had provided like in-person tutoring that we've never had before, and I think they offer like a lot of great services, and I've never knew that they offered languages. So I know with the Learning Emporium they mainly focus on the natural science courses, and Ola also with the different expertise from our tutors, it's mainly the math and science, but they've actually gone into the languages. So it would have been really nice if I had known that when I was an undergrad. In the space, right? They're in Sinclair Library. So I used to hang out there when I was an undergrad. It would have been a great connection to had already started doing that.
Yeah, I used to. This is my library too, but Cherie, I'm much older than you, so Yeah, so again, just to point out, the languages, it depends on the tutor. And if the tutor has graduated, there goes our language. But usually the tutors do take languages, so we can offer that.
And are there any costs to using your services or any other restrictions that a student wouldn't be able to use your services for?
No, I think none of the tutoring services are cost. Yes, Cherie they don't have to pay. It's all free. It's all,
Perfect.
yeah.
That's what I figure. I just like to highlight it.
Yes, that's right.
I don't want students to feel like they have to pay for these services, because there are some opportunities off campus. You know, if they want a private tutor off campus or things like that, those things typically are fairly costly. So just reminding students that there's several opportunities on campus for tutoring that is at no cost to them. So planning ahead too, right? How do you kind of coach students on how to use your resources as far as planning ahead and doing those things for their classes?
I do want to mention one other thing. I think it's important not to feel like if you go to these services that you're not okay. I mean, we want students to even come for help. You may be getting a B+, but you want to nail an A. I mean, these services are for everybody, not just the struggling student. And it, you know, the more interaction you have with another person in learning the content, it's actually a lot more effective. I know a lot of students I talk to, they only want to study by themselves because they think that's the best. But really, no, it's important to be sharing what you know. And, you know, that's actually the most effective way of learning, is when you can teach someone else. And you're not really teaching the tutor, but you are sharing with our tutor what it is that you know. And when you do that, you actually learn better than when you just listen in a lecture situation or read alone by yourself. So I guess basically what I'm saying is study with another person. Get into a study group. This is something we're going to try to do next semester, a coming semester. We're going to try to help students create effective study groups. I know that a lot of students, I tried it, it doesn't work. There are certain things you need to do and agree to in a study group. You cannot just show up and listen. And that's not very effective. You got to be talking, you got to be engaged and involved to make it useful. So that's another thing, maybe not this semester, but we're going to try to happen, because studying with others is really a lot more effective than by yourself. When it's a good one. Yeah.
As a reminder, if any of our participants have questions, to use the Q&A box, because that's where we're pulling all our questions from. So reminder for that. Now, Cherie, I think you talked about how you have writing. Do you have writing tutors in OLA? Okay. And Rosemarie, do you have writing tutors in LAS?
No, we don't. It's only if for some reason they weren't able to connect with the writing center or with OLA. Okay. So we can provide it, but it would be kind of more like a emergency situation, you know.
But just a reminder too, Cherie, I'm sure that you guys already say this, but if you are seeking a writing tutor, you shouldn't do that last minute. Is that right? You should plan ahead, because writing is a process of doing that. So do you have any other insights on that, Cherie, about anybody who's looking for writing assistance?
No, I agree. Book it in advance, especially because ours is appointment based. So it's not like a drop-in hours, and some of our tutors, their schedule actually go off fast, because I think very similar to what Rosie had said, if they like a tutor, they want to keep working with that tutor. So I remember one person had booked every Monday with a specific tutor, and they actually came in. So those slots usually go off. So as soon as you get your syllabus or syllabi and you see that there's a writing assignment due on certain dates, maybe plan a couple of weeks in between, just so you could already start making those initial conversations with the tutors, and then it'll be easier to create like follow-up appointments afterwards.
And that's great too, because some of the busiest times are in the middle of the semester and at the end of the semester. So if you're waiting until then to get to a writing tutor, it's not a great way to plan because they could already be booked, or you could need more assistance than just one appointment because writing is such a process for that. Okay, and we are getting towards the end of our questions. Any other questions from our participants? Please feel free to use the Q&A box. Once you start typing in your question, you will see an option to submit anonymously. So if you want it to be anonymous, you can click that button and then submit your question, but please feel free to use the Q&A box so that we can assist you with those questions.
Can I just make a comment related to writing as a process?
Yes.
That's actually true for all your other courses.
Oh, you're right.
Yep, you should actually be studying. I tell students that I see, you should be studying for your exams the second day of class. You cannot learn all the material you need to learn and at the level, the deep level that you need to by studying even just a week. So it has to be a continuous process that builds upon your knowledge base. So you're always adding. But if you try to do that, even a week or two, it's not as good. But you have to understand that the goal when I work with the students in my academic coaching is nothing less than a B. And it's not that hard to do. And you'll find that A's kind of not that, they just happen. So it should be really more of an organic process than one that you struggle with. And I try to help people to actually enjoy taking exams.
That's a great tip, actually, Rosie, and you're completely right about a learning process for all classes and kind of putting in the work. And I also think of the fact that an early meeting with a tutor, an early semester meeting with a tutor, they can help something click for you, for that content, for that course. And then the rest of the semester is completely different than maybe if you wouldn't have had that early connection with that content. So thank you so much for sharing that. All right. Any other questions that we have from our participants for either of our panelists? Again, these represent two of the academic services options on campus. There are other services on campus as well. And if you go, it looks like Rosie's website, the Learning Assistance Center, has some links to those resources. But of course, as they said, it's all about the fit. So whether you need a quick answer like Rosie was referring to with the Learning Emporium, or maybe it's something that there's a content or a tutor that you're specifically, for lack of better words, attracted to, then that would help you to kind of find a match with that particular service. All right. Well, it looks like our questions are all been answered. So thank you so much. And we'll move on to Dugan then.
Alrighty, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today for this presentation, and we hope that you gained some helpful information from Rosemarie and Cherie. And if you have any further questions or questions that was not discussed, please email your orientation leader or nrwo@hawaii.edu for assistance. As mentioned, this webinar will be published on the NSO platform, so please visit that page for the recording as well as the links or documents mentioned by today's guest. Mahalo.